Bangarang!
Bangarang.
Bangarang. Okay.
All right.
So what we decided we're going to call this episode Take Off Your Pants and Enema.
Yeah.
What came first? Music or the misery? People worry about kids playing with guns or watching violent videos. Some sort of culture of violence will take them over. Nobody worries about kids listening to thousands, literally thousands of songs about heartbreak, rejection, pain, misery, and loss. Did I listen to pop music because I was miserable? Or was I miserable because I listened to pop music?
So, in case you haven't figured it out, we are. I've been teasing this for a little bit. We were going to do a bit of a throwback review. We decided to do a throwback versus. This one has been sitting around for a little bit. I mentioned it to you a while ago.
Yeah, I've been very excited.
Yeah, and we just decided to do it now because, well, holidays and it's summer, stuff like that. So it's a banked episode. So those of you listening to this, we will get to new music again when we're back. But, you know, it is what it is. So we are going to do a little versus between Blink-182's Enema of the State and then the follow-up to that album, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket.
Two of their best.
In my mind, it is their two best albums.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, the self-titled is pretty huge, but I mean, this is peak Blink-182.
I was thinking about this in preparation for this episode. The self-titled album, I do really like. In fact, I want to say there was a time I sold a bunch of CDs, and I think it was the only Blink CD that I still had.
Yeah.
After all of that, right? I've since gone back and started repurchasing albums and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the self-titled album reminds me of a very specific time in my life, and anytime I want to listen to it is when something similar comes up. So what it was, I don't remember when exactly it came out in the year, but for whatever reason, it reminds me of driving in the winter to go play hockey. That's very specific, right?
Dude, no, that it's very similar to mine.
Right.
So that self-titled album reminds me of sitting in a vehicle with my buddy in the winter. We would just listen to this album on repeat and just chat that. Yeah, so that one holds special memories for me too.
Yeah,
but
it definitely holds its place.
Vehicles.
Vehicles in the winter. Overall, it's self-titled is probably. I mean, obviously, it was signaling a turn in Blink-182, and then it was all kind of downhill after that. I don't necessarily mean musically. I don't want to get into Neighborhoods in California and all that kind of stuff, because I think all those albums have their spots too. But
we'll save that for another podcast.
But relationally within the band, it's that's I think viewed as sort of the last hurrah of good fun Blink-182, and then they started infighting. So it is what it is. But, we're here to talk about the two albums before that. So let's go, I guess, with how they were released. So Enema of the State up first. So were you a Blink fan already when this record came out, or did you get on board after?
No, I was 9.
Right.
Yeah. So I was not a Blink fan. Really, I started listening to Blink around the self-titled when I was 14. Yeah. And so that's probably why that one holds special value to me. But I really didn't get into these albums until I was 14, 15, and that's when I kind of started listening to them. So
sure. So with Blink, that was probably right around the time I was getting into them. I was familiar with them, with songs like Damn It and Josie and whatever, seeing their videos on Much Music back in the day and being into pop punk and punk rock at the time. I just can't remember if I had purchased Dude Ranch before. I never actually bought Enema of the State until a year ago. So because it was one of the very first CDs I had a burned copy of.
Nice.
And so I don't remember who I got to burn me the copy, but I had a burned copy, which always stood out because a couple of those tracks actually bleed into each other. And back in the day on burned discs, you couldn't do that. So there's always that gap, right?
Yeah,
so I just remember, I think between Adam's song and All the Small Things, they bleed into each other. And so there's always a gap, which is funny. But I can't remember. I want to say I probably did have Dude Ranch before Enema of the State, or right around the same time. And then, I can remember setting my VCR. This is throwing it back. Setting my VCR to record Blink-182. So, I mean, with the whole explosion of pop punk, because to me, this is the album that kicked it all off.
Yeah.
Blew the doors off the place. Pop punk is here and it's in everybody's face. Blink-182's Enema of the State. So in the States, to help really that pop punk explosion, they had TRL, right?
Yeah.
With Carson Daly. Here in Canada, I guess our TRL, I was thinking about this the other day, was Much On Demand. I don't know that it was to the same... Like they definitely felt like different shows.
Yeah,
like
similar,
Much On
but
Demand,
different.
yeah, Much On Demand smelt. It felt smaller.
What kind of TV
right?
did you have, man?
Right? Yeah, it was this really weird new future thing where TV can give you smells and stuff as well. But yeah, like it definitely felt smaller. But I can remember like Blink-182 being on there and playing all the time. I can remember them coming to Much Music and setting my VCR to record. They had like an in-studio performance. What are they? Intimate and interactive Much Music had.
Yeah.
And it was like, so it was always so awesome because it was like they're Much Music studios and they would just cram people in there all around the band. And then there'd be people like outside. It was like, they were so awesome.
Yeah.
And I mean, I haven't watched, I don't even know if Much Music plays music anymore. I haven't watched it forever.
So. I think those days are done.
I think they went the way of MTV. But yeah, it was so much fun to watch. It was always a good time, and there would be interviews going on throughout and whatever.
Well, that was always I think one of the reasons why Blink got so big is because the music was fun, the music was great.
Yeah.
But Tom and Mark, especially, had amazing personalities, and they were always joking around. They just reminded you of your buddies in high school, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. And then I can remember them around that album as well playing. I think Much Music used to put on these. It'd be like a couple hours of live music, and it was always outdoors. In the winter, it was called Snow Job, and in the summer, it was called Sand Job. And I do believe it was on there that they played at some beach or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
I think you can find that on YouTube.
Yeah,
still. I've definitely seen that.
Just like a great, again, like you nailed it. It was just so much fun, right? And that's all they just got up on stage and they just joked around. And they had fun. Now they still, like when I say they, now obviously it's Mark and Matt. They don't have that at all.
No.
Matt's kind of a interesting guy, but Mark still tries to kind of do the jokey bit, and it definitely feels different. I don't know what it would feel like if they ever got back together and started touring again, because it seemed like
did you ever go to the Neighborhoods tour?
No, the only time I've seen Blink was since Matt's been in the band.
Really?
Yeah, so when all that was. When all that craze was going down in the late 90s and early 2000s, there was was it Edge Fest? A big tour. It was like Blink-182, Jimmy Eat World, Newfound Glory. I think Sum 41 was on it. It was just like the biggest of all the pop punk bands at the time. And it was literally the day after I was flying out to Nova Scotia for a couple weeks in the summer. And I was like, so I didn't get to go. I think Good Charlotte was on that tour. I didn't get to go, right? And then after that, like they played up here for an outdoor music festival we used to have called Sonic Boom. I don't know if that was around Neighborhoods.
Yeah,
it was their reunion. I know that. They were back together. And and I didn't go because I balked at ticket prices. Because it was like, I think you could only buy.
They made you pay for the whole
both days, so it was a couple $100.
Yeah,
and I think did Weezer and Blink play on the same day?
Yeah,
and so I was like, I'm not going to go to both days. I don't want to pay, so I didn't go.
Yeah,
so
I was at that show. I was there when they played Rexall. Here in Edmonton. I think I've seen them 3 times because I saw them in Australia as well.
Nice.
Yeah, so. Yeah. Which is funny, because I really got into Blink as soon as they were broken up. So it was kind of a bummer for me because I got super into them and it was over. So when they got back together, it was like amazing. I went to every show I could.
Yeah. And I can only imagine, though, the difference between seeing them had I gotten the chance on the Edge Fest tour, which I think was that 2000? Or was it after Take Off Your Pants and Jacket? Anyways, it was right in the middle of all that, right? Like,
yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah, and like they would have been at their peak, and it just didn't happen. But whatever. I did eventually sort of. I've kind of seen them as a whole because I've seen Angels and Airwaves live, and I've seen Blink with Matt live. So it's like, it's all sure. Well,
little Tom, little Matt,
Tom, little Matt. Yeah, but So this album, though, I can remember driving around listening to it. Like, it is the album of high school for me.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, realistically, both this album and Take Off Your Pants, because Take Off Your Pants came out, was it 2001?
I believe so,
or early 2002, somewhere in there though.
It was 2001 because it was right around September 11th that they were releasing the video for Down.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, it was it was for Stay Together for the Kids.
Yeah, so that's 2003.
Yeah, Stay Together for the Kids, and it was a music video about basically like demolishing a building, and they had to delay the release of it because September 11th happened.
So yeah, like whenever I put it on though, like Enema of the State is an album that I can put on and I can sing along basically word for word, even if I haven't listened to it in 3 years, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, that rarely ever I don't know if that's ever happened where 3 years have gone by and I haven't listened to the album, but it can go a while and I can just put it on and go straight through it and listen and sing along basically every word and then repeat it again.
I know. Yeah, same here. I mean, both these albums I can throw on and won't feel the need to change. Like they're just they're timeless classics,
sure,
in my opinion.
Now, with this episode, I don't know if we're going to do our typical review where we give like grades. I think in the end we are just going to pick.
Sure. I mean, yeah, even that will be hard to pick one.
Yeah. So let's then move on. Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. That album for me, like that was, that could very well have been the first one where I was like, I'm a Blink fan. They've got a new album coming out. I'm on board, for the release sort of thing. I can remember specifically buying that album because I want to say, my mom must not have driven me in. No. Or I bought 2 copies because how did this work? I think I picked up a copy for a friend. And so I was living again, like not in Calgary. I was living outside Calgary. And so I want to say my mom was driving me. I had guitar lessons or something like that. So she was driving me.
Mom dropped you off.
Well, and so I bought this album, and I told her, because of course it's got like the parental advisory thing on there or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I told her, I was like, oh no. My friend Brandon, he got the one, there's an edited, I got the edited version.
Oh yeah.
Which of course I did not.
No.
And I mean, it's funny to go and listen to. Have you ever listened to the edited version of that album?
Yeah, sometimes it'll play like, it's hard to tell which when you're picking on Apple Music sometimes, and then it'll play.
My favorite is when it plays Happy Holidays.
Yeah, it's just blank.
And it's just music.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah.
I would like to hear like an actual edited version.
Yeah.
And see like how bad it is with like just all the the swears cut out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Versus they're just like, you know what? It's just an instrumental track. It's a minute and a half or whatever of just punk rock speed.
Yeah. Yeah, like these, because that was the first one. Was that the first with like a joke song on it?
I think so. Well, yeah, I guess. Because like on Dude Ranch, there were for sure like little
that's
bits.
True. Like they definitely on their earlier albums had some weird.
There were for sure bits, and then I mean, full on joke songs. Versus just like the quick little thing. Because like Dude Ranch for sure, like the song Voyeur. I mean, it's Tom singing about being a peeping Tom, right? Like, so I mean, like, yeah, but I think they just developed them into full songs.
Yeah, it's like a well-produced.
Whereas, like Happy Holidays. No, I guess technically Mark, Tom, and Travis show because they had. Yeah. Well, I don't know what the name of the song is, but basically
they call it something.
Yeah, basically it's based on like the George Carlin 7 words you can't say on TV bit, right?
Yeah.
And so that's on the Mark, Tom, and Travis show, and I think on there they did bits, so they must have just been doing them live.
Okay.
Right,
yeah.
like little things. But as far as a studio album, I think that's like, probably the first.
Yeah, it pops out in the middle of the album,
and it's just a quick little thing, right? And obviously they did it to death on California when they're like, look, we're going back to our roots of being goofy.
I don't mind that.
I don't mind them.
I don't mind that at all.
But I don't remember them ever putting so many.
Yeah.
And I was so annoyed when I saw them. It was before they did their official tour for that album. They the album was out and they just kind of did this like quick run of shows in Canada. And they only played 3 songs off of California, which I was a little bit bummed because I'd like spent some time getting to know the album because I was like, I'd like to know these songs. And they played Bored to Death. I think they played She's Out of Her Mind. And then they played Bro Hymn Bohemian Rhapsody. Brohim, that's a Pennywise song. They played Bohemian Rhapsody, and I was like, they played like 2-3 songs, and one of them was a joke song. I was like, dang.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's what you get when you have a catalog of hits.
Oh yeah,
right?
I mean that's the thing is it was just one hit to the next.
Yeah,
and but back to Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. It definitely has. I can pinpoint and tell you my favorite Blink-182 song, and it is on this record.
Okay.
Let's see if you can guess it.
Well, it's definitely not going to be one of the singles. It can't be. It's going to be an outlier.
Why does that have to be the case?
I don't know. I just feel like you would pick an outlier.
All right.
Your favorite is Reckless Abandon.
Nailed it.
I knew it. I knew it.
Now I want to know if you can figure out why.
I don't know, man. I love that song too.
It's
love
really
that
just
song.
What initially about that song was the intro. I really just love the sound, like the crackle and the lo-fi. Yeah. On and on.
Yeah.
Reckless Abandon. Yeah.
Such a good song. I mean, like, I've always been a fan of Tom DeLonge's writing.
Yeah.
Like everything he does, because it all kind of sounds like him. I mean, this album is full of amazing songs. I don't even know if I could pick one.
Yeah, no, hands down. That is like, if someone asks me and I have to tell you, like, that doesn't mean like, I mean, I guess it does mean like when I say hands down, like, it's I don't have to think about it. That's my favorite Blink song. Yeah. Another one that's up there is also another Tom DeLonge song, but it's not on either of these albums.
It's on the self-titled?
I don't know. I'm going to see how well you know me. Let's see if you can guess another one.
But it's another Blink song?
Yeah. Another Blink song, Tom song.
Another Blink Tom song. I'll say it is on the self-titled.
You'd be wrong. So I narrowed that down for you.
Is it on any of the two we're doing right now?
No, I just said it's not on these albums.
Okay.
So it's off an older album.
Josie?
No, that's a great song. That's a Mark song, though.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Tom song. A Tom song.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Untitled.
Untitled. I love
Can
Untitled.
I tell you a story about Untitled?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm in high school. And you know when we talked about, in the Seaway episode, we talked about like a band that you'd have play at a party, blah, 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 and why. And then so I used what party from a movie, I forget. Anyways, we were talking about the movie Can't Hardly Wait, which I told you to watch, and I'm sure you didn't.
Yeah.
But in that movie, the main character is walking around, he's got this letter that he wants to give to this girl that he's liked for all of high school. And so I, like at one point, like there was this girl I liked, I'm like, I gotta tell her. Anyway, so when I finally like started talking to her and we started hanging out or whatever, I found out that she really liked Untitled by Blink-182, and I was like, immediately this girl, I was like, she's even more awesome than I thought.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I was like, ah. And so I was in a band, like a punk band, and we were gonna play like a lunch hour at school. Like this person started wanting to put on shows in like the drama room at school, so I was like, yeah, can we play?
Yeah.
So it was like, I think it was actually our first like show. And so we maybe that's not quite right. It was around there. But anyways, so we get set up to play, and I'm like, we're going to learn this song, Untitled by Blink-182, right? And
totally.
So she was there. And so I'm like, right before we play the song, I'm like, we stop the one song. I'm like, this song's for you. And I point at her, and this guy's like sitting beside her. He's like, it's because she's hot. And I'm like, just crushed, but played the song anyways.
You stole your thunder there.
Yeah, I was like, but so it was funny. So I legit, that may be the only song I've ever learned for a girl, but that was when I kind of like, in learning it and playing it and like listening, I was like, oh, this is actually a pretty sweet song.
That's a great song. I've always loved that song too.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so it's on neither of those albums. That was a pretty wide net to cast for you to try and pick a favorite.
Hey man, I nailed the
you
first
nailed
one,
Reckless Abandon, yeah. I don't know if I could even begin to try and nail a song for you.
I have a favorite Blink song.
You do? Hey?
Yeah.
What era?
2000. It's the self-titled.
Okay,
I'll give you that. It's on the self-titled.
Okay. It's not going to be a single.
I don't know, man.
Because if you say I miss you, I'm just going to like...
No, it's not I miss you.
I'm just going to punch you. I'd have to look at the track listing. I was like, can't think of song titles off. People are listening to this going, come on, guys, get with it. Move forward. Why? Hold on. We're getting there.
You can get it.
I can get it? You think I can get it?
I think so.
Okay, self-titled. Here we go.
Out of everything we talked about, I mean, you kind of know what I like.
Yeah, you like faster stuff.
Yes.
But I can't remember what the... what the fast songs are on this. Well, I know it's not all of this.
No. Great song, though.
Yeah.
They're all great songs. All right, you want a hint?
Sure.
It's a single.
Oh, it is a single.
Yeah.
So then it's either Feeling This or Always.
It's Feeling This.
Yeah, okay.
Always great song, too.
Yeah, I was thinking about Feeling This, and I was like, that was a song that, like, really, I think, surprised a lot of Blink. Like, I know it surprised me when they came out and they were playing. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, like I love Feeling This. I think that that would be my favorite Blink song.
Well,
yeah,
okay.
Feeling This.
All right. I could probably pick a favorite song off of Enema of the State when I think about it. Let's see if you can guess it. This has just turned into a game.
Okay,
this is
Dumpweed.
That is a great song, and now that I think of it, it's not. But now when you mentioned, I was like, oh yeah, no. The one that always jumps out to me, it's not a Tom song.
It's not a Tom song?
No.
Don't Leave Me.
That's also great. I mean, the whole
party
album's
song.
great. That is another great song, but no. you got to give it because eventually you're just going to listen.
It's not a hit. Is it Adam's song?
No.
Okay.
No, it's Going Away to College.
Great
Yeah.
song.
I know. I was like,
Great
literally
song.
every song you say, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a great one too. That's a great one too. Oh right, that was a great one too.
That's a testament to the album, man. Like,
Yeah.
This was such a good time, I think, for music,
Yeah.
like, and especially for Blink stuff coming out. This album, I mean, it's still influencing. You can still see the influences.
Talking about Enema of the State?
I'm talking about. Well, I'm talking about both, really, because they're both kind of similar times that came out.
Yeah,
but the influences are you can apparent everywhere. You can see it everywhere.
For sure. Now here's the hard part.
All right.
You
gotta make me pick one?
You gotta pick one. Because I mean I do know mine. I've got it.
That's all right. Okay, tell me yours first.
Well, I'm kind of curious to see if we're gonna end up liking the same one. So I don't want to influence you. I mean not liking the same one, but picking the same one.
Okay, I've got one. I've made a decision.
Yeah.
I'll say my favorite would be Enema.
Okay, so we're split. Because mine is Take Off Your Pants and Jacket.
Yeah.
And that's because, so there's a couple reasons. One, Enema of the State was great. Like I said, it kicked the doors down, but for me, it does suffer a little bit from, I mean, when it comes on the radio or at a sporting event or whatever, I don't mind. But listening to, like, when All the Small Things comes on, I kind of go, okay, and I'm ready to move on. But like that doesn't happen with What's My Age Again, though, right? Like I still, which was the first single. I still really like that one. And Adam's song, when it comes on, I kind of like, so those two being back to back on the album, kind of like they're both, again, if it were to come on the radio or come on a playlist, I'm not going to be like, oh, turn this off. Like I still really like them, but just album as a whole. Whereas like, I really think on Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, that is Blink-182 at their like just pure pop punk best.
It is.
Right? And there's no song, like even like Stay Together for the Kids or First Date, like the singles on that song, and maybe it's just because they didn't get the like quite the same mainstream radio rock play as Adam's song and All the Small Things. But so like the singles on that record don't drag me down really as much. I also like the callbacks to like some older Blink songs, like with was it Online Songs? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
He talks about Josie.
Yeah.
You're the, and then obviously the very first track on that is called Anthem Part 2.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, I'm still trying to figure out like what's the connection between Anthem that ends Enema of the State and Anthem Part 2.
Yeah.
Except for I guess it's just like all about being a teenager growing up or whatever, right?
Yeah,
like,
the anthem.
So
yeah, I mean you're not wrong. These are two incredible albums. I love them so much, but I think I pick Enema just because Dumpweed kicks it off so hard.
Yeah.
And I've always loved Dumpweed. That's one of the first songs I learned to play on the guitar.
Nice.
And probably one of the only ones I still can.
Yeah.
Because I just played it so much.
It is quite the opener.
It's quite the opener, and then What's My Age Again is probably, I think, their best single they've put out.
Except that Feeling This is your favorite song. Oh, and
Feeling's my favorite. I think What's My Age Again? What's My Age Again was more popular than Feeling This, I think. I like Feeling This because it's faster, but What's My Age Again is catchier.
Sure.
I'm torn. You see, I just.
So would it be more difficult? It'd probably be more difficult if I made you pick between Enema of the State and Self-Titled.
Oh man. Oh,
because that would be easier for me. between those two records, and
what would you pick?
I would pick Enema of the State. I like Self-Titled, but it's a different listen, and I mean there's definitely growth there, which is to be appreciated, and there's some moments on that are really awesome. But at the same point, I like Blink for, like for just like the carefree, just having fun. Like that's when I fell in love with them, right?
Totally.
I mean, they definitely, when going into Self-Titled, it was following the trend of music in general all of a sudden, like hair in your face and stuff. Like they definitely got a little more in touch with, I guess you could say a bit of a Blink-182 emo side.
Yeah,
which is funny because they do have a song called Emo.
Yeah, they do.
But yeah, it's just like, it's one of these things where it is like musically, Self-Titled is probably their best album, if that makes sense.
100%.
As musicians, as artists, but just as like, for what I love and loved Blink for, those two albums, and even Dude Ranch. Dude Ranch is a lot of fun too. It immediately takes me back to being in friends' cars driving around, right? Immediately.
I think if I had to pick, it'd be Self-Titled, just because that's the first album that gripped me.
That's fair.
But I love every Blink album. I even love California.
Yeah,
maybe we can have another discussion on that. But
we could.
I think
I do like
even with Matt,
California as well. So before we get out of here, because we're running out of time, but with California, when Matt was first announced as joining the band, or at least initially it was like this fill-in thing.
Yeah.
I was excited in the fact that like I was a fan of Alkaline Trio. I was like, this could be interesting. And those first few shows, there was like this new energy that had disappeared with Tom.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I was getting pumped up, but I feel like I don't know what it is. But when you see Matt now, it's just like, he's kind of like fallen into this thing where I'm like, it's missing that, there was that energy that came back that was like, oh, this is awesome. And then, California does sound a little more like, these records versus like Self-Titled and Neighborhoods.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, and it's fine on its own. I also wouldn't have been upset if they're like, oh, this is now no longer Blink-182. We're called blah, 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 something else, right? Like, yeah. But, I mean, it is what it is.
They're just so different. Tom and Matt are so different, right?
Oh,
so
totally.
It's,
Totally. One's into Satan and one's into aliens.
Yeah. Yeah, like can't pick down the road, can we? No. Gotta go way off track here.
I just love it. I love it. But Alien seems to fit the Blink-182 vibe a little more than Satan.
Yeah. Like I wonder what this next album's gonna be.
Yeah, it's just all Matt songs in there. No, that's why he still has Alkaline Trio going.
Yeah.
he can work out that side of his brain a little more, and then just go and be irresponsible with Blink or something. I don't know, but yeah, that's gonna do it. So we're split on which album we picked. I want to know whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, wherever you choose to let us know which album you prefer. Is it Enema of the State? Or is it Take Off Your Pants and Jacket? Let's keep it to those two, because that's what we were mainly discussing. I don't want to see the comments being like, Self-Titled's better. Or, man, they were so much better before Travis joined the band, because everybody knows you're wrong when you say that.
Yeah.
But wow. Yeah, wow. That'll do it for this one. Again, we'll get back to reviewing new music shortly here, because holidays are happening right now. So happy holidays.